And then it will keep replicating those experiences into your life. Some examples I would give, and I was going to say women who wind up having abusive relationships, like in a serial nature. The reason this comes up is not just coincidence, it's a synchronicity. The synchronicity is an indicator to you, a diagnostic device telling you that your thought is wrong. And I'm not here to excoriate or belittle any woman or man who's been in this situation, because I've had my own experiences to deal with. I had to look at them rather in a true and clear light, and I realized that I was the cause of it. And then by doing that, then I can go and do something about it. So basically what's happened is all this programming, we've been misprogrammed, malprogrammed, and it's basically come from our parents, it's come from our schools, and our schools and our religions are two of the worst offenders. And I'm not knocking all of the religions, and I'm not even knocking any of them, but some of them have become very mispercepted. And as a result, if I tell you you're a sinner, or if I tell you you're an alcoholic, the computer brain will take that information and it just sucks it in. It doesn't care whether it's good or bad, because it doesn't have a good or bad filter, editing function, or beneficial, non-beneficial, whatever. So anytime you say anything negative, or anyone says anything to you negative, then the first thing you need to do is a silver mind control technique, which I didn't cover yesterday. It's as simple as this: cancel, cancel. I annoy a lot of people, especially when I'm playing golf, and they say, "Oh, I can't do this," or "I did this badly." I said, "Well, there's no such thing as can't. It's only that you don't." And it's probably because of the programming that you're holding. And so if you want to perpetuate more of the destructive program, just keep saying that. Otherwise, oh, thank you very much. See, I didn't even need it. So, that's the book it's based on. I do not have copies of the book here. However, I can download it, and I am going to be downloading for some people that have already asked me to do that. So, what the publisher can't do, I can't. Yeah, well, we have a very different, they're not possibility thinkers. I am. I don't think why it can't be done. I try to figure out why it can and will be done. So, again, so not only the religions and the schools, but the government is a propaganda machine, a non-stop propaganda machine that dispenses mistruths, propaganda, doctored data about unemployment, doctored data about the state of the economy, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And then the corporations you can include in that, and then you can also include the Illuminati, or the 0.1%, the 0.001% of the 1% that they talk about, that have all the money, that basically control everything. I don't want to get real deep into that, but I covered extensively in the introduction to my book, maybe more than a lot of people will want to look at. But before you can solve a problem, you must know what the hell the problem is. And if you know it, then you will be able to fix it. If you keep your head down in the ostrich hole, like Dr. Pangloss from Candide, and say everything is really groovy and everything's really perfect, and yet it's not, then you're never going to solve the problem. So that's a point of resolution that we must all come to. And I'm not negative about our future at all. As a matter of fact, because of this theta level that I've been able to stay in for almost continually now, I get so much information. There's not only are we going to help us, but there are several of extraterrestrial sources that will help us, and this will be a great benefit for us. But before they can help us, we must help ourselves. And Dr. Bell talked about, Dr. Fred Bell, who is a very great scientist and also a great man of spiritual knowledge that just passed on recently. He talked about how in his contacts with the Pleiadians, with a woman called Semyase, specifically, that it would be worthless for them to help us too soon unless we start to help ourselves. So the first way we'll help ourselves is to unprogram ourselves from the negative programming, and thus no longer are we slaves to the corporations and the Illuminati. We manifest our liberation from this. And it's literally that simple. It's simply a perceptual shift. It doesn't require a civil war. It doesn't require a war. In past lifetimes, I've been in many wars, and I've been in many civil wars, and I can tell you that I've concluded conclusively that nothing ever good came out of any of those wars, and never will come. So, enough preaching. So, when we get to this, basically, with this negative program, we're in this level of beta brainwave, but it's really a beta consciousness. In that beta brainwave, we are trapped in the morass of problems. We're trapped as a slave. Our minds are not focused, and we're not linked up with the divine. The antenna to the Creator is not connected. When you get to this theta level, I'm going to try to get to some specific techniques by which it's done today. Then this is when amazing things happen. All of a sudden, when you get to that level, and it usually doesn't happen immediately, but if you work within the protocols and within the things I've set out in the book and the things that I'm going to be setting out in the seminars, I can say with a certitude, I can say with a certainty, I'll give anybody's money back that doesn't get to that level that I claim you can get to, as long as you do the hard work, as long as you do the homework every night. Because this is what allows you to little by little, your perception shifts, and all of a sudden you realize, I don't have to be afraid anymore. And once you make that perceptual shift from fear, which I'm pretty close to done, I think I've done it all the way. I may have some more things to do, but I'm in a lot better place than I was before. That's why I wrote the book. I saw what happened to me, the benefits that happened to it, and I said, this applies to everyone. If I can do it, I'm not any more special than anyone else. I mean, I have a little advantage being born on Halloween. But yeah, but that's a two-edged sword too. So it's a double-edged sword. You have to learn how to control those emotions. So if I'm here telling you that you can control your emotions, being a Scorpio, if you're not a Scorpio, it should be really easy for you. And if you are a Scorpio, you can still do it. Or an Aries, or someone very strong-minded. So basically, all level of disease is covered by emotions. The worst one being fear and resentment, anger, lack of worthiness, depression. I pushed something, didn't I? Pushed the icon. So, thank you, Juan. So, this literally plays true. This supersedes any bacterial, fungal, or viral causational factors. Because as a matter of fact, no one will deny this. No oncologist will deny this. No pathologist will deny this. Everyone has the potential for cancer in their body. And yet some people get it and some people don't. Now guess what? Moi had cancer. And moi had a lot of resentment. And moi was on a clean diet when it happened. So even a clean diet won't be enough if the emotions are off. This was 20 years ago. I feel better now than I did 20 years ago, and I felt really good 20 years ago. So, and then also the emotional component is covered. The Bible of Emotional Healing is Louise Hay's book. You can heal your life, or you can heal your body. This book, I can't say enough good things about it. And also Science and Health with the Key to the Scriptures by Mary Baker Eddy, who is most likely a reincarnation of Mary Magdalene, because I never saw any man or woman who truly understood the true nature of Jesus' teachings. How I know what the true natures of Jesus' teachings, I'm not going to share right now. But that I do know what they are is a fact.
What was the name?
Science and Health with Key to the Scriptures by Mary Baker Eddy. Available from any Christian Science reading room. Some of the things in there are dated, but the concepts aren't. The concepts are still as valid as any time before. She talks vividly about fear, extensively, and how you have no need to have it. Because as you'll see in a minute, you'll know why. So basically this misprogramming goes in, it goes into the subconscious. Anything that's disadvantageous for your optimal functioning, it goes in there and it's going to replicate through.
Can you go back?
Sure. I'm only going fast because last time we didn't get nearly far enough. I like to share. I'm not trying to hold it all into me. I've already had one psychotronic government attack on myself, and I know how to handle it. The reason I know this is the second I transmitted it over the internet to my publisher, within a couple hours I was getting bombarded with frequencies. So that's okay. I just threw them right back, and they got pretty messed up from it. I don't mess around with these people. I've dealt with them before, and it's not. And I'm not saying there's many other people that have done it. Certainly not just me that have had to deal with this. David Wilcock has had to deal with this also. I know for a fact. So we have a very foolproof method for reprogramming our minds. The three ways that I found that are the most effective are a Christian Science treatment, which is kind of ambiguous. There's no set protocol on it, and that's the thing that's kind of a problem. The other thing is theta healing, which I'm certified in, and then the other thing is what I've created, which is theta consciousness healing. I've taken Christian Science, I've taken theta healing, and I've taken a lot of other things I'm going to show you. Put it together. I've created a stew or a melange, and the combined ingredients are vastly more tasty than the elements separate. And since I like to cook, that's how I cook. I throw everything but the kitchen sink in there when I have ingredients. So I just combine everything, as many things as I can possibly get my hands on. I throw them all together. So and then make something incredibly tasty. So Mary Baker Eddy was the first semi-modern person to say that there is a perfection that pervades everything in the creation, and this is literally true, as I will show you in a minute from ancient texts. This is the 72 names of God from Exodus 14 verses 19 to 21. Do not go to the Bible and try and look this up. If you're fluent in Hebrew, you may be able to decipher it from the Torah. I'm more or less fluent in reading the letters of Hebrew, but I'm not real comfortable reading the whole language, but that's just a matter of time. So basically, I'm going to shorten this from what I did yesterday because I have a lot more to do. So basically, I studied these. You study them from left to right. That's the way this language works. And so I studied it that way for about 2 years, and then one day I go, whoa, what's this? Memnon Dalet, overcoming your fears. Why is that in the middle of the 72 names of God? It must be really important if it's embedded in the middle. It's the axis around which everything flows. So this goes back to Louise Hayes and what I was saying earlier about emotions being the causational factor. And then I go, oops, Eureka, Ayin Rashad, connecting. Oh, no, down here. Eureka. Hey Resh Chet, connecting to the light. The light is, in every tradition, in every religion, in every symbology, except for Christianity, the light is associated with God or the sun. Okay, so then I said, wait a minute, here's another one. These literally popped into me. I didn't even have to strain to do it. I wasn't going like this, and I wasn't looking at this. What's the pattern here? When you get into because of the work, the homework I'd been doing was getting me into the theta level. And when you get into it, the most beautiful and amazing things happen to you. You start to see things. Like when I was writing the book, it was effortless. It was a joyous occasion. It was only 2 times it wasn't, and that's when I was having formatting problems. So that struck a chord. Okay, and then I go, well, I'm going to skip around because I'm running out of time. But then I went, so here's in the middle was Memnon Dalit, Overcoming Your Fears. And then I come up to the top line. This top line up here, this is basically a pattern that can be used in Christian Science, healing, theta healing, and my theta, well, I won't say mine, what was revealed to me through theta consciousness healing. Okay, and this basically, I'm going to just highlight the stuff. Okay, so this right here, Memhe Shin, that's healing yourself. This right here, Aleph Kaf Aleph, that's restoring things to their perfect state. Now notice, it doesn't say creating things to their perfect state. It doesn't say things aren't perfect. It's implying that things are already in a state of perfection. It only requires us to wake up to it. And to me, that is very beneficial for us. Then I started studying the Emerald Tablets of Hermes, who was a personage of extraterrestrial origin that was in Greece. He was also in Egypt as Hermes Thoth. He was also in, Dr. Hurtak says he was also Enoch in the Kabbalistic tradition. This is quite significant that an extraterrestrial showed up in 3 great cultures at 3 different times. And it's not a coincidence. It was obviously his mission, and I was glad it was. But basically what Hermes is saying is what I'm not going to say here. You can get this online, or you can get it through my book. He said basically everything is from the one source, the one God. He doesn't use the word God, he just uses everything is from the one by the mediation of the one. And it also says right here, this is really, 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 really important. He says, this is the Father of all perfection, or consummation of the whole world. In other words, this is a pervading power. And in a couple minutes in the scientific part of this, I'm going to show you why that is. And then it says, its power is integrating if it be turned into earth. He says, all through here, the aspects of this overriding pervasiveness of our Creator. And that is beneficial for us, because this means that God isn't up there, up in the heavens, up there looking down on us, the poor little pathetic people. It means that God is right here, right now, through the atomic field. And that's really significant. This pattern on the trestle board from the builders of the Adytum, this also says, I just want to point out a couple things. This has to do with abundance. Number 4, from the exhaustless riches of limitless substance, I draw all things useful, both spiritual and material. Okay, number 8, this has to do with the creation of the light body that I'm rather obsessed with. I look forward with confidence to the perfect realization of the eternal splendor of limitless light. How would this field of limitless light be created? Isaac Newton posited way before there was helium-ion microscopes, and way beyond there was these Hadron atomic colliders and the Los Alamos atomic collider, etc. That light was a stream of particles. And the only way I can figure out he did this, he obviously went into the theta level. He must have existed there. He was exceedingly brilliant. I don't call him brilliant because my last name is Newton, but I call him brilliant. I call him brilliant because of the works that He did. He wrote the ultimate treatise on mathematics called Principia, which to this day is still considered the end word on mathematics. So something that was written, I believe, like in the 1700s, that's amazing, considering how much supposedly we've evolved, supposedly, from that time. So, thank you. So, this is from the Scientific Statement of Being on page 468 in Science and Health, Key to the Scriptures by Mary Baker Eddy, and she says, there is no life, truth, intelligence, or substance in matter. So, now, how does that... I'm going to skip this one. Well, I got a lot of the information I've studied from the Yoga Sutras by Siddha Patanjali. He's in the lineage of Kriya Yoga that I've studied for about 15 years in this, no, about 20 years in this lifetime and many, many other lifetimes before that, because it came to me very easily. In fact, I was already doing it before I was taught it. But basically, the thing that he emphasizes is pranayama, which is a special structured breath, unlike anything most people have ever known about, will lead you to a state of samadhi. At this state of samadhi, you will reach a level where breath and heartbeat and blood circulation is suspended. Last night when Juan and I were at the disco down there for about a 2-hour... I'm not going to stay up in my room when there's a disco. I might be 65 years old, but I danced 2 hours solidly, and my breathing was almost completely suspended. I was even astonished. I was saying, how is this possible? Because sweat was dripping down, sweat was dripping down, and yet I'm going, I don't need to breathe. Because when you practice this enough, you're real. When I go snowboarding, same thing. I don't even breathe. I'm just in a state of euphoria. I just float down the hill. But some of you probably think that I'm floating on air right now with some of the things I'm saying.
Shouldn't you be a skier?
I used to ski. It's fun. Snowboard's more fun. Okay, so this is from the Bhagavad Gita, and basically Krishna was teaching Arjuna that about the effects of what the pranayama breath does. It basically comes down, it kind of ignites the spine through fire and light, which is basically electricity or life force. And that creates a photonic effect, which would be the scientific explanation. And he also talked about in that, and also Patanjali talked about how there's inherent perfection of creation. It's also in the Vedas and the Upanishads too. So basically, what I found from studying the atom, it seems to be a perfect indestructible form of energy. And even in the Hadron Collider, they have found, in all the atom smashing they've done, they've still never found any dense matter. So this would be rather, and it's frustrating the hell out of them too that they haven't found dense matter, because they're convinced that that's a model. They assume that exists because it seems that we are material, undoubtedly. So on this atomic level we have, this is from Valery Kondratov's Geometry of a Uniform Field. She shows symbolically the 9 geometric forms of creation which recur over and over again. This would kind of tend to prove rather strongly against chaos theory, or there isn't some controlling intelligence called creator or God or Shiva, whatever you want to call it, that's actually running things. So as we look at this, this is a helium-ion microscopic picture of a helium crystal. Not helium, platinum. And notice, this is the same form. All of these forms are replicated, but I'm showing you the biggest identifiable form that I see, that I just showed you in the chart before. Okay, so those atoms, those perfect atoms, those perfect small forms of creation, coagulate or coalesce into molecules, and those molecules assimilate and attach to other molecules, and voila, we have the light body man, which is us. This part of the aura on Jesus, it went up this high. There's a Christian Science practitioner that I've done to lectures who has done some things. His aura extends that far above his head. The reason that I know it extends that far above his head, even though I know I can see auras, when I went to this lecture, I wasn't interested in looking at this guy's aura. And additionally, I had my glasses on, which is not even productive to seeing auras because your eyes need to go out of focus. And yet, even with my glasses on, it was so stunningly obvious that I know I was the only person there that saw that. I know no other Christian scientists saw that because they think it's a bunch of BS, but... Nevertheless, it existed. This, okay, let's go to a higher form of creation right here. This is Dark Star MWC 922. You can download it online. It's actually in Valery Kondratov's Geometry of a Uniform Field. And her information did help me with a lot of cross-validation. You can see right here, you have an octahedron, which is also the same crystal shape of gold. So what I'm trying to show you is this keeps coming up over and over and over and over again. It's not random. There is no chaos theory. Also, that life on this planet, this proves that there is a God. Life on this planet can, versus the work of... Now, it's a Christian physicist. He wouldn't agree with the conclusion that I came from his data, but nevertheless, I just take raw data. He basically said, has studied and found out that life can only exist within the parameters of 3/100ths of 1%, not 3/100ths of 100%, 3/100ths of 1%, which is an extremely small margin. This is in relation to the strong nuclear force and the electromagnetic field. This, I would say, it's not very likely. There's not somebody that's very much in control of the whole show right here going on, not only us, not only in the earth, but the whole cosmos. So now I'm going to get into some things that get you into that level of, well, I'll do it twice so this side can see and then the other side can see. This is Kriya Kundalini Pranayama breath. I do this every morning. I don't feel right if I don't. Well, I feel right if I don't do it, but I feel righter if I do it. I don't want to lie. Because of the practice I've done, when I finally learned to discipline myself and focus on a goal and say, what the hell would happen if I did more of this than my teacher said I should do, which is exactly what I did, and the results were pretty amazing. So anyway, basically I'm going to come in, I'm going to extend. It's hard to talk and do this breath because it really takes all your breath. I'm going to fill up the diaphragm, then I'm going to pull the air up to my chest area right here at a count of, well, whatever you count in, it's like cadences are, it's an 8-0-16-0 breath for people that meditate. So it means there's no holding of the breath. But believe me, you won't want to hold the breath because it pulls you to the limit. So you go. Okay, now for this side. So There's more elements than just the breath. There's about 5 other elements that make this thing. Yes?
Related to that breath exercise for practitioners of pranayama, if it's an 8-16, I understand that we're inhaling for about the count of 6 and exhaling for about the count of 16. Is that what it is?
It's like whatever works for you, whatever you can do. They just call it 8-16. If you can't do 8-16, whatever you inhale, you double the exhale.
Yeah, whatever your count is.
Yeah.
So upon the inhalation, is the chest rising, or is the abdomen, is the belly coming out, or is it vice versa? Like
no, the belly actually shrinks some as you come up. You lift the shoulders, but I teach this in a seminar. I was going to put it in the book. I had it all written. Truly, I did. And I was determined that that was the only way to get into theta, and then someone from the cosmos dropped a bowling ball on my head and said, hey, up, you know a bunch of other ways, so you can teach people the other ways, and then the pranayama you can teach it in a seminar, which is how it should be taught, because that Paul Foster case that I showed you, the patterns on the trestle board, was a Maha avatar, not acknowledged as such, but from the information that I've gotten in Akashically and the stuff that I've cross-referenced, he was truly a great, great man. Far greater than myself, but that doesn't bother me. Because he helped me. It's irrelevant. It's not a contest anyway. Anyway, he said when he did pranayama, and he said doing it unsupervised was the worst thing he ever did in his life.
Thank you.
And so you start out with these lower rates, you build it up over time. Right now I'm doing a 25-50, but that's not at exact second intervals. I time it from time to time. I'm doing each breath about 35 to 40 seconds per cycle on that 25-50. Because that's kind of the metronome I work at inside my head, being a musician and everything. That's how I do. And so at the beginning, it will take you 48 repetitions probably to get into a really good state. It may take you 32. One round is 16, so 2 to 3 rounds is no. When you get to the level, like I don't need to do it anymore, but I still do it because I want to go to the deeper level. It's like I'm always searching for more. Okay, so the next thing I want to cover is the Sanskrit mantra. I'm going to repeat them, probably only once, but I've printed them in the book. The Sanskrit means perfect form, and this language is truly perfect. It is very phononic in nature, which means the sound waves are so intense from the utterance of this language. It will calm the angriest of people. It calmed my annoyingly colic son when he was a baby. His mother could not calm him down, but the Gayatri mantra could calm him down. If you get into conflict resolution, I'm going to do it right now, the Gayatri, which is this one right here.
With animals too, I've noticed.
Yeah, animals, anything. Thank you. Thank you for the input. It's true. Thank you for making it more complete.
Did you do what it sounds like, or are you doing it now?
I'm going to do it right now.
Okay, great.
Everyone can hear me, right?
Yeah.
Om Bhur Bhuva Saptaputriyadon Tatswaha Varenge Verde Vashedi Nat Prosidiat. That's the version I do that I was initiated, and I actually wasn't supposed to do that one, but I'm going to do the one that's in the book. Om Bhur Bhuva Suvaha Tat Savitur Varenyam Bargo Devasya Dimahi Diyo Yona Prachodyatom Om Bhur Bhuva Suvaha Tat Savitur Varenyam Bargo Devasya Dimahi Diyo Yona Prachodyatom. Wow, you guys are really tuned in. You're energizing me.
Very powerful group here.
Yeah, it is. I'm not telling you, I have so much electricity and prana going down me. It's quite euphoric. Okay. The other one I'm going to do, I wasn't initiated into. These are both. The Gayatri is Salut Savitur, which is the sun. for Hindus, okay? And this element of sun keeps coming up over and over and over and over again, except in Christianity. And in Gnostic Christianity, actually it does come up. So it's been exculpated, removed by various nefarious editors. Okay, this other one is the Mrityanjaya mantra. Om Triambakam Yajamahi Sagunda Pushte Varanam Varakame Vabandanat Mrichur Mukshi Yamamritat. Om Triambakam Yajamahi Sagunda Pushte Varanam Varakame Vabandanat Mrichur Mukshi Yamamritat. That's also in the book too. I think it could be downloaded online. I'm not sure. Yeah, I think I can. Okay, the next thing is the backflow meditation, which is illustrated here, but it's going to be hard for people in the back to see, so let me describe it. Basically, you're bringing you're turning your eyes back, not your head like this, but just the eyes from the sockets, turning the eyes upward like this. And then as you bring the light down, you bring it down to the medulla oblongata, down to the spine right here, and you keep circulating it like this. This is like an 8-0 breath. So whatever you breathe in, that's what you breathe out.
Is it like the cobra breath?
Similar, yeah. But I think this is a little different. I think if you try this, you're going to get pretty addicted to it. Oh. Okay, the next thing is the Tai Chi standing meditation. Everyone stand up if you want to. If you don't do it. Control mechanism. Bend your knees, bend, slope your shoulders forward. See yourself in a pool of water about chest deep. And then with no muscle power, just with the power of the thought and the water moving it up, allow your hands just to float up like this. Up to chest height. Everything relaxed, no muscularity. Now, if you take the hands and turn them toward each other in this position, see one hand being a negative charged magnet, see the other being a positive charged magnet. Allow the hands to be drawn together, no muscle power. Let the prana move them together, or the chi. And then when they get close, then change it to the same charge, either negative or positive. Let the hands repulse each other, and then repeat the process of plus, minus. Bring it in, bring it out, but relax, no muscle power. Pretty soon, most people start feeling something in between those hands right there. You can put them in close together, and you can go like this, and you can start actually defining a sphere of chi or prana or life force. And your hands are probably going to be tingling too. Your head might be hot. Your medulla oblongata might be tingling. Your spine might be tingling. Or you might feel warmth. That's all the indication of the energy. That's how much God is around us, right there. Never doubt that God or the Creator is there. I used to, but I don't anymore. Most people feeling that?
Yes.
Yes.
All right, I almost never fail on this. this kind of shows a diagram of it right here where you basically, we already did it, so we don't need that. Okay, another thing, there's controversy on this, but I can say this as a certitude that what I'm going to say is true, and the sexual process is another way to really, really get into theta, but it's not fun with friction. It's not concentrating on fun with friction. It's more like tantric. Everything needs to be slow. This is one of the things that's good done slowly. And basically, it involves a long session of caressing and a long session of kissing and hugging and just laying together and stuff like that. Especially if you are proficient in pranayama, it will blow, it'll feel like your head is being blown off when you orgasm. It is that intense. And you can do it without, the men can do this without even ejaculation. So it's really, really, really good. And you have a high probability of being blasted into samadhi, this breathless state I talked about. When you reach this state, don't be afraid that you're not breathing. Once you get to this state, you're tied into the Akashic records. You'll start having so much information come in. You will start having so many insights into things that you wondered about. You will start solving problems. It's just, I don't know, it's astonishing how it is. I mean, I know that there are brahmachari and yoga and Hindu and stuff that don't want to get involved in the sexuality. I don't know why the hell you wouldn't want to go to samadhi. I really don't. I do, every chance I can. All right, now I'm going to show.
Any demonstrations of that one?
Yeah. Well, I'm going to show you a couple things. This. Where's the pointer?
The pointer.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow, that's punny, isn't it? That's very punny. All right. This is what I'm talking about, the spooning sexual position. This involves no penetration. Also for men who have erectile problems. You can actually have an orgasm this way if you did the pranayama in the morning or just before. Literally, and a woman will have an orgasm or can have an orgasm. I don't want to guarantee. Depends on the participants. It's the quality. It's the quality of the energy, not the size of the genitals, that makes the difference right here. And it really does. I've heard people say it's otherwise, but they haven't tried this. Once they have, they'll know the difference. This is the other one. Some people take issue with this, the dog or the sexual tortoise position. Unfortunately, the illustrator, after three times of me explaining, could not draw this drawing where the man should actually, as much as possible, be close to the woman so that the heart chakras can line up. I've been criticized. They said, "Oh, I don't like this because it doesn't involve the heart." If you get if the man is a little bit taller than the woman, this is going to happen. Even if it's not, it's still going to happen. That's going to be close enough to the chakra. The chakras actually don't just run on the front like they've been depicted anyway either. They're also on the back. I mean, it runs through there. It's just depicted on the front and the back. And the thing of this is, the benefit for the male on this is it allows you to go a lot slower because you can tighten the root lock or the anal sphincter muscle so that it will slow everything down. So, any questions on that? No demonstrations provided. Okay, also intense musical performance, like some of the music I was listening to last night. And also if it's louder, it helps a lot. Unless that bothers your hearing a lot, then you can't do it. So basically, you want music that induces a trance. You want music that has a repeating percussive rhythm. You want music that has a pattern that keeps, at least one pattern that keeps repeating over and over and over and over and over again, like in one of Otis Taylor's CDs, or like Return of the Brecker Brothers, which is a jazz group. It's incredible how they keep repeating the rhythms. Also the Doors, the music of the Doors, where there's this constant repetition of the, and also music in minor keys is oftentimes much more powerful than stuff done in a major key. And then again, polyrhythmic percussion, where there's like a beat, but then there's random off beats that are like coming like that, stuff like that. Not only playing this music, but listening to it. If you do it with headphones, it's going to be a lot more effective. And then intense sporting activities such as surfing, dirt motorcycle riding, snowboarding, skiing, cliff base jumping, skydiving,
Running?
yeah, even running. Once you blast through the wall, running is euphoric.
What about swimming?
Swimming could do it if that's something you really enjoy. It'll pull you there. Yeah, definitely it will. You need to kind of get like in a steady rhythm, keep doing the same
Repetition.
and then intense dancing, which I was doing last night, or attempting at least a facsimile thereof. Now, actually, when I started getting into the theta, I felt pretty dorky at first because I hadn't danced like in 20 years. And I didn't have a partner, and I like dancing with a partner way better than by myself. But once I started going into the level, I started getting real loose, real fluid, and I think I almost got to a contemporary status of being able to dance like they dance today. Or maybe I was deluding myself, but I think I was close. Also, I want to say one thing, too, about dancing. Dancing with a partner on the beach during full moon, woohoo! Off the charts. So how is all of this integrated then into our consciousness? Okay, the things I showed you at the beginning are the traditions. The 72 names of God, the emerald tablets, the patterns on the trestle board, the Yoga Sutras, the Bhagavad Gita, and Science and Health, the key to the scriptures. Okay, these are the chemicals and these are the traditions. Then the other things that I showed you later, the breathing techniques, the mantras, the musical things, the sexual things, the dancing things, these are the catalysts that bring these alive. In any kind of chemical process, if you want to speed it up, you either put another chemical that reacts with it or you give it heat. This is just basic high school chemistry. Okay, so, and together, these things create this alchemical transformation that takes you to theta. All right, good. Yeah.
What's the more people that obtain this level of consciousness,
Yes.
what larger purpose is being served?
Well, one, you're not based in fear anymore. Two, you're not based in disease or lack of health anymore. Three, abundance starts flowing to you from mysterious sources, as long as you allow it to do. Mary Baker Eddy often said in Science and Health, the key to the scriptures, she said, why are you asking God for more things when you haven't even given thanks for what you already have? And believe me, I have to keep doing this to me, you know, like to make sure that to remind myself, I'm getting fanatical. I try to think anybody, everything that's helped me. Even if I buy something, I still do it. I'm trying to create this symbiotic, interrelated energy field where okay, let's uplift it, everything, and let's not get all, yeah.
Just so you know, we've only got like about 3 minutes.
Yeah,
We've got about like 50 people gathered around.
Oh,
Just want to let you know.
Yeah, I'm ready to wrap it up. This time I actually made my goal.
How do I get in touch with your book again?
Right now I can download it to you. Come down to 107 and I'll do the name. I brought, actually, I brought, because I don't have a website yet, but I do have an email address. I brought some papers on it, so you can contact me by phone or email. Soon I'm gonna have an email. I mean a website. Thank you.
Did you enjoy the talk?
Yesterday there was a and she was saying that
Absolutely. It comes on like gangbusters. That's what I'm going to teach in the seminar. Yeah. Read that yellow sheet. Whatever's in there, there's going to be 50% more, and by the time I do the thing, I'm going to have 10% more information.
yeah, because she said that's how we can communicate with pets. Because they
Oh, absolutely. They are.
Yeah.
And so were we. We were born on it. I forgot to say it until the age of 5 or 6. We were born.
Mailing list?
It's February 25th. Someplace in Los Angeles area. I'm not sure. So I have one or two. Down at 107 at my booth.
107.
Yeah. And what I'm gonna do, I have to download it to you because the publisher didn't get me stuff that didn't get the books to me. They didn't even get it eaten for me. Thank you for coming.